Okay, we're live on YouTube. Done. Okay, so like I said, I was Shalach Trevor. Hello, Shabbat Shalom again to those who observe. So last night hi YouTube. I'm live on Instagram. I figured I would go live on both because, I mean, duh, why not? This is not another Zoroastrian video. I'm actually reading two different books and they're saying completely different things. You guys can see the titles of both. And I wanted to I don't know. I just wanted to like read these and see what y'all think. Like, am I tripping or are they saying two different things? I don't know. I've already read Untethered Soul once, and so Instagram's up here, YouTube's down here. But I've already read Untethered Soul one time through and it was really good. I ended up buying the guided journal to go with. I didn't do it, and I'll tell you why. It's because I don't know. I was just at like, so it's more about like untethered soul, like having your soul detached from everything, which that is also like a type of biblical narrative. I think this goes a bit further maybe than the biblical narrative, but you know, especially New Testament people, there's this idea of detaching yourself from the world, um, being in it but not of it, and only clinging to Christ and things of that nature. So it is this idea of detachment that you find present in the biblical narrative. So anyway, I just wasn't in the right headspace to digest the lessons in it. It was one of those things that I was reading and I was like, okay, I am intellectually understanding this, right? Like, I'm not a dummy. I get what this is saying. Like, I intellectually understand. But being able to translate those things into my life gave me like, I chose the route of being anxious about it because I knew I wasn't ready to make the steps necessary to follow the advice in the book. Does that make sense? Y'all ever read something? Some people call it conviction, but it was less conviction. Like, I didn't feel like guilty or anything like that, or like I was doing something wrong. It was more just like, damn, this all sounds great, but like I know I'm just in a space where I don't feel strong enough to make these decisions because I am so codependent and attached in said relationship, and I just literally could not like get my mind around detachment. I like non-attachment more than detachment. Might be semantics, but it seems healthier. So when I hear the term non-attachment, I think like you get it, like you got it right the first time. Right? And I've been very much a person who has not gotten it right the first time. I have a nasty, horrible habit of, okay, highly intuitive people, you will probably feel me on this. When you are a highly intuitive person and you've always been that way, as a kid, adults will shut you down, will like tell you like, oh, like you have no reason to think that. Like they'll like belittle that intuition. So especially as a woman, especially as a brown or black person, a minority, right? Like all of these things, like they add up. So you learn to not trust your intuition. And so it develops a habit of doing things that feel very opposite of your nature, very much opposite of your intuitive self, your true self. But you've been told that and almost punished if you follow that intuitive nature, right? And so I think from that, like from having a childhood very much that way, from one of my parents, not the other, I have developed a habit of like trusting things too much or forcing myself to, and then like not learning the first time and going back and like being like, oh, like it won't be that bad. And then it's like literally fucking terrible. So non-attachment to me sounds like getting it right the first time. Like you go through life unattached, non-attached, like you got it right the first time. You've never had an attachment, right? Which is the goal. Like that truly is like my ultimate goal, and I think is a great goal for all human beings. But detachment sounds like I've attached. How do I get myself out, right? Like how do we detach? How do we pull back? So I think that's why I'm using it, because I relate to it in the sense of I'm attached to so many things. I'm attached to my mind. And then so Untethered Soul talks about detaching. Where's this book? Detaching from that voice that's always freaking going in your head. And breaking the habit of being yourself is more of coming from the quantum aspect of saying your mind and those thoughts have the power to create, and it's building a case for that. So you can see how those two things could be very conflicting. But yeah, anyway, I am so long-winded. I'm sorry, guys. That's a fair personal assessment. Yeah, I think I'm a pretty self-aware person for the most part. Everyone has their blind sides, but I feel like I spend a lot of time analyzing myself, and I don't think beating myself up, but I'm very harsh on myself, and I'm very much like, you said that, you looked like that, you made that face, you didn't make that face. um, you're thinking these things, you believe this, are you following through on that belief? And then if you're not, do you really believe it? Like, these are the thoughts that going through my head all day long, which is exhausting, I'm sure, to a lot of people, but I actually like it. So as a kid, we have been suppressed to make healthy connect. So as kids, we have been suppressed to make healthy connections. I think so. I think that, so I'm a mom of 3, you guys know. And so I have a 9-year-old, a 7-year-old, and a 1-year-old. And more or less, I've parented them all very similarly. Certain things are tailored per child. But I think one thing that I set as a rule for myself is, if my children they don't have to prove themselves. They don't have to prove anything to me. If they come in and they say, I don't feel comfortable, or I don't like X, Y, and Z, that's it. That's the end of it. Okay, that's enough. That is a good enough reason, right? I don't want to X, Y, and Z. It depends on what it is, but I'm going to have a conversation. Why don't you want to do your homework right now? It's not just, you're a child, shut the fuck up, like you're going to do what I tell you to do. No, like, why don't you want to do your homework right now? Is there a valid reason? My stomach hurts. Well, you know what? I don't want to work when my stomach hurts either. Okay, let's take a break and we'll come back later and we'll do our homework. So I think for me, I try to have the conversation of letting my kids have their feelings and let them be valid, or let their intuition, like, you have to learn intuition as a skill. And I think it's a parent's Risa, hi baby, how you doing? But I think it's a parent's responsibility to allow the child that you have, that you're a caregiver over, to grow trust and that confidence in their intuition, especially girls who are going to become women. And sometimes that's all we have in life, is that intuition to protect us, to be like, I'm going to say no to hanging out with those girls, or I'm going to say no to going on that date, or something feels off. I'm here. I agreed to be here, but something feels off. I'm going to get out of the situation. And sometimes that's all we have. And I think we need to do a better job as parents of being like, that's good enough. But you foster that at home with the little things of, your child feels weird or strange about someone. It's not, no, like, that's your uncle, give him a hug. Or no, that's your auntie, give her a hug. It's like, no, you don't give him a hug. You don't give him a hug. I don't know. And we can talk about it later. So I do think that we've been suppressed as children in making healthy connections, not just with others, but with ourselves. And I think more so highly intuitive children and highly sensitive children bear the brunt of it, because they're the ones who are not really just going with the flow all the time. Hi, how you doing? I'm just talking about, I'm rambling. It's Friday and my kids sleep, so hey. But no, I'm reading this book, Untethered Soul. You can see it. It's by Michael A. Singer, and I'm reading it alongside, literally like side by side, with Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, How to Lose Your Mind and Create a New One, by Dr. Joe Dispenza. And the premise so far, I will say, so I've read this book before, I haven't read this one, but the premise so far in this one is this idea of like untethered soul, like basically like total detachment, which is interesting. And then the premise of this book is more high level awareness of your mind and your mind's activities and the thoughts, and being very aware of the quantum consequences of your thoughts, if you will. So basically your mind has the power to create whatever the heck you want it to, almost basically. And then your mind is kind of annoying and it just talks all day, and you just need to learn to kind of not really shut it up, but just like ignore it and be like, oh, that's a thought. That's just my mind. That's not me. That's just my mind. It's fine. It can go over there, and like letting those thoughts flow through you and detaching from your thoughts, which we all identify as ourselves. But this book's premise is that your thoughts, your mind, is not you. You can tell your mind what to do. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. Hopefully. Hi, YouTube. Hopefully you guys can hear me. I have my microphone over here, so hopefully you guys can hear me. It's not a Zoroastrianism video. We are done with the Zoroastrian series, unless I happen to go live, and then some people have questions, and then we can chit chat about what I know so far about Zoroastrianism. I'm trying to get my hands on a really good copy of the Avesta, but I just haven't found one that I trust yet. So we will see. Okay, so I'm going to read a portion. So I'm going to read chapter 1 in this book, and then chapter 1 in this book. And that's it. I won't drag y'all through a whole chapter thing, but yeah. Is Shabbat tonight? So I don't know what faith tradition you follow, Jennifer, on YouTube, but so yes, Shabbat Shalom if you're Jewish, or if you are of a faith tradition that keeps Shabbat. Traditionally, Jews keep Shabbat Friday night at sundown to Saturday night at sundown. So there's no work, and depending on your observance level, there's no internet, cell phones, electricity. It really just depends on what level of observance you have. Some people believe that Shabbat is just Saturday sun up to sundown. Some people keep Shabbat on a lunar calendar, which would be, so it changes. Basically, you have a day zero. They're not going to like that I say that, but you have to have a day zero if you are purely keeping Shabbat on a lunar calendar. And then they have like day 8, day 15, day 21, and then day 28. So every 7 days, they kind of keep that cycle each month. So they wait until they can see the new moon. And then that would be the start of when they start keeping, how they count, like which is the 7th day for their Shabbat. I believe that is completely erroneous. I don't believe that that's how it was done back in the day. And even if that is how Adam was doing it, we see the command come in the book of Exodus. So after that time period, we see the command in the book of Shemot or Exodus, who is, no, this year I'm not counting the Omer. But we do see conveyed well. Oh, thank you. I was gonna say, I feel like it can be a confusing answer, but anyway, in the book of Exodus, that's when we see the command come through for you work 6 days and then the 7th rest. So if you are keeping a lunar Shabbat, to me, you are immediately in violation of the commandment that now specifies Shabbat. So going to a Genesis narrative and saying Adam and Enoch did this, that's great. I love that. But okay, we're going to get rid of you. I'm sorry. You can't be weird, though. Okay, sorry. I had to get rid of what I think is probably a troll. But anyway, I do think that if you keep a purely lunar Shabbat, it would be erroneous if you also claim to keep Torah. So, and that would be why. And we can get into it, but it also has to do with how you count the Omer and the way it's prescribed to count the Omer, and then getting into the feast at the end, Shavuot, and how that you literally can't get to what is called a Pentecost if you're doing a purely lunar Shabbat. But that is, I've had arguments on that app, Clubhouse, 5-hour-long arguments trying to get certain people to see, like, if you keep a lunar Shabbat, you're in error and it just doesn't work, and you have to have a day zero, and there's no day zero in the text, and then don't even get me started on counting the Omer and how it's going to throw you off. And then thankfully I did get one person out of that mindset, maybe two. So it was worth my time. Thank you. What are you reading? I'm reading Untethered Soul by Michael Singer, and what is this? Breaking the Habit of Being You. And I'm just going to read chapter 1 in each, because they're books that are talking about the same thing, the mind, the power of the mind, but they're doing it in two drastically different ways, and they have two very different premises. And I think it's quite interesting, and was very much on one side of things. And then I started reading this other book, and I'm like, oh, wait, different perspective. But maybe they're not saying different things. Maybe I'm hearing or reading them saying different things, but they're not. So anyway, I will go ahead and read chapter 1, The Voice Inside Your Head. So I'll read chapter 1 in Untethered Soul. This ring light, man. Hey, Shani. Ring light is whooping my ass. Okay. The Voice Inside Your Head. So in quotes says, shoot, I can't remember her name. What's her name? Darn, here she comes. What is it? Sally? Sue? She just told me yesterday. What's the matter with me? This is going to be embarrassing. In case you haven't noticed, you have a mental dialogue going on inside your head that never stops. It just keeps going and going. Have you ever wondered why it talks in there? How does it decide what to say and when to say it? How much of what it says turns out to be true? How much of what it says is even important? And if right now you are hearing, I don't know what you're talking about, I don't have any voice inside my head, that's the voice we're talking about. If you're smart, you'll take the time to step back, examine this voice, and get to know it better. The problem is you're too close to the objective. You have to step way back and watch it converse. While you're driving, you hear internal conversations like, wasn't I supposed to call Fred? I should have. Oh my God, I can't believe I forgot. He's going to be so mad. He may never talk to me again. Maybe I should stop and call him right now. No, I don't want to stop the car right now. Notice that the voice takes both sides of the conversation. It doesn't care which side it takes, just as long as it keeps on talking. When you're tired and trying to sleep, it's the voice inside your head that says, what am I doing? I can't go to sleep yet. I forgot to call Fred. I remembered in the car, but I didn't call. If I call now, wait, it's too late. I shouldn't call him now. I don't even know why I thought about it. I need to fall asleep. Oh, shoot, now I can't fall asleep. I'm not tired anymore, but I have a big day tomorrow and I have to get up early. No wonder you can't sleep. Why do you even tolerate that voice talking to you all the time? Even if what it's saying is soothing and nice, it's still disturbing everything you're doing. Oh, Cap. Hey. I'm just reading the books. If you spend some time observing this mental voice, the first thing you will notice is that it never shuts up. When left to its own, it just talks. Imagine if you were to see someone walking around constantly talking to himself. You'd think he was strange. You'd wonder if he's the one who's talking and he's the one who's listening. He obviously knows what's going to be said before he says it. So what's the point? The same is true for the voice inside your head. Why is it talking? It's you who's talking and it's you who's listening. And when the voice argues with itself, who is it arguing with? Who could possibly win? It gets very confusing. Just listen. I think I should get married. No. You know you're not ready. You'll be sorry. But I love him. Oh, come on. You felt that way about Tom. What if you had married him? If you watch carefully, you'll see that it's just trying to find a comfortable place to rest. It will change sides in a moment if that seems to help. And it doesn't even quiet down when it finds out that it's wrong. It simply adjusts its viewpoint and keeps on going. If you pay attention, these mental patterns will become obvious to you. It's actually a shocking realization when you first notice that your mind is constantly talking. You might even try to yell at it in a feeble attempt to shut it up, but then you realize that's the voice. That's the yelling at the voice. Shut up, I want to go to sleep. Why do you have to talk all the time? Hi, Sid. I'm reading Untethered Soul, Chapter 1, and then Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, Chapter 1, and comparing the two, for anyone wondering. Okay, obviously you can't shut it up that way. The best way to free yourself from this incessant chatter is to step back and view it objectively. Just view the voice as a vocalizing mechanism that is capable of making it appear like someone is in there talking to you. Don't think about it, just notice it. No matter what the voice is saying, it's all the same. It doesn't matter if it's saying nice things or mean things, worldly things or spiritual things. It doesn't matter because it's just a voice talking inside your head. In fact, the only way to get your distance from this voice is to stop differentiating what it's saying. Stop feeling that one thing it says is you and the other thing it says is not you. If you're hearing it talk, it's obviously not you. You are the one who hears the voice. You are the one who notices the talking. You do hear it when it talks, don't you? Make it say hello right now. Say it over and over a few times. Now shut it inside. Can you hear yourself saying hello inside? Of course you can. There is a voice talking, and there is you who notices the voice talking. The problem is that it's easy to notice the voice saying hello, but it's difficult to see that no matter what the voice says, it is still just the voice talking and you listening. Hopefully it's making sense. Like when I first read this, I was like, I don't even understand what's going on right now. And I had to keep rereading it. But then my cousin, she read it with me. So we would pause and then like pick it back up and figure out what the hell was being said. So, all right. Hi, YouTube. I am reading, I see some people joined Untethered Soul. It's about basically detachment and then breaking the habit of being yourself. So this is more looking at it from a quantum reality, the relationship between thoughts and matter. It's making that standpoint, and Untethered Soul is saying it's best to just completely detach and recognize that your mind is not you and just put it over there somewhere. If I had this future growing up, I would have read a lot more books. You would have read a lot more books, or you would have listened to a lot of books being read. Like I can listen to self-help books, but I'm also on Instagram. So Instagram's up here and YouTube is down here for those who are like, why does she keep looking up and down? That's why. But yeah, I can listen to self-help books, but I cannot listen to, or like memoirs, especially like celebrity memoirs, but I cannot listen to fiction books like on Audible. I hate it. Okay. Picking up, I'm only reading chapter 1 in both books because I want to compare and I want someone else to tell me like, are these books really saying two different things? And I feel like y'all will hear what I'm hearing, but then I also feel like there's some of y'all who are going to be like, no, like it's saying the same thing. Okay. So, there's absolutely nothing that voice can say that is more you than anything else it says. Suppose you were looking at 3 objects, a flower pot, a photograph, and a book, and were then asked, which of these objects is you? You'd say, none of them. I'm the one who's looking at what you're putting in front of me. It doesn't matter what you put in front of me. It's always going to be me looking at it. You see, it's an act of subject perceiving various objects. This is also true of hearing the voice inside. It doesn't make any difference what it's saying. You are the one who is aware of it. As long as you think that one thing it's saying is you, but the other thing it's saying is not you, you've lost your objectivity. Well, I would have amassed more information watching these. That's funny. Okay. You may want to think of yourself as the part that says the nice things, but that's still the voice talking. You may like what it says, but it's not you. There is nothing more important to true growth than realizing that you are not the voice of the mind. You are the one who hears it. If you don't understand this, you will try to figure out which of the many things the voice says is really you. People go through so many changes in the name of trying to find myself that they want to discover which of these voices, which of these aspects of their personality is who they really are. The answer is simple. None of them. Okay, I'm going to stop there in that one because he's going to get into a bunch of things. But are y'all like following what that one is saying? Like, does that make, did you catch the drift of the first book, what it's saying about You are not your mind. You step back. If you can hear that voice in your mind going, then you're the one observing that voice. Because when I read that, I was like, yo, that makes so much sense. Like, I'm in my head all the time, but like, no, I'm not in my head all the time. I'm just here. Yeah, we are the observer. So I resonated a lot with that. And I've always had a hard time with the, I've always had the time of, a hard time of like with the, like just think it into existence and manifest. I've gotten better with that, I think, over time, but, I've always looked at the flip side of it of like, okay, so if I think like a bad thought, am I going to manifest that right away too? So let me not get too powerful at the manifestation. We are not the flower pot or the photo. Exactly. We are the observer. So I don't know that, like I said, when I first read that 2 years ago, I was like, but I was also, like I said, I was not in a place to really receive and understand that all of these thoughts in my head, I'm just the observer of these thoughts. They're not me. Hi, Jilly. I don't know if you're still here, but hi, Jilly. I'm reading Untethered Soul. I think you would probably like that book, honestly. And then also Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, which is the Quantum You. Okay, so this chapter one is called The Quantum You. Now just listen, because I feel like they're saying completely different things, and y'all tell me. Okay. Early physicists divided the world into matter and thought, and later matter and energy. Each member of those pairs was considered to be entirely separate from the other, but they're not. Nevertheless, this mind-matter duality shaped our early worldview. That reality was essentially predetermined, and that people could do little to change things through their own actions, let alone their thoughts. Fast forward to our current understanding that we are part of a vast, invisible field of energy, which contains all possible realities and responds to our thoughts and our feelings. Just as today's scientists are exploring the relationship between thought and matter, we are eager to do the same in our own lives. And so we ask ourselves, can I use my mind to create my reality? If so, is that a skill that we can learn and use to become who we want to be and create the life we want to experience? Let's face it, none of us is perfect. Whether we'd like to make some change to our physical self, emotional self, or spiritual self, we all have the same desire. We want to live life as an idealized version of who we think and believe we can be. When we stand in front of the mirror and look at our love handles, we don't just see the slightly too pudgy vision reflected in the glass. We also see, depending on our mood that day, a slimmer, fitter version of ourselves or a heavier, chunkier version. Which of our images is real? When we lie in bed at night reviewing our day and our efforts to be more tolerant, less reactive people, we don't just see the parent who lashed out at our child for failing too quietly and quickly submitted to a simple request. We envision either an angelic self whose patience was stretched like an innocent victim on the rack, or a hideous ogre laying waste to a child's self-esteem. Which of those images is real? Let me make sure I can. Okay. The answer is all of them are real. And not just those extremes, but an infinite spectrum of images ranging from positive to negative. How can that be? For you to better understand why none of those versions of self is more or less real than the others, I'm going to have to shatter the outmoded understanding about the fundamental nature of reality and replace it with a new one. Okay, so this is when he gets into his breakdown. Let me get my phone up. Oh. Okay. The answer is all of them are real, and not just those extremes, but an infinite spectrum of images ranging from positive to negative. How can that be? For you to better understand why none of those versions of self is more or less real than the others, I'm going to have to shatter the outmoded understanding about the fundamental nature of reality and replace it with a new one. Okay. That sounds like a major undertaking, and in some ways it is. But I also know this. The most likely reason why you were drawn to this book is that your past efforts to make any lasting change in your life, physical, emotional, or spiritual, have fallen short of the ideal of yourself that you imagined. And why those efforts failed has more to do with your beliefs about why your life is the way it is than anything else, including a perceived lack of will, time, courage, or imagination. Always, in order to change, we have to come to a new understanding of self and the world so we can embrace knowledge and have new experiences. This is what reading this book will do for you. Your past shortfalls can be traced at their root to one major oversight. You haven't committed yourself to living by the truth that your thoughts have consequences so great they can create your reality. Okay, full pause. Full pause. Are these two books saying something different? Because you guys see the writings. You see the writings. I feel like this is saying F them thoughts. It's not you. It's not helpful to even listen. Like, don't even listen to what it's saying. This is saying them thoughts have the power to create your reality. Listen to all of them and maybe train yourself to only think the powerful good stuff. Right? I don't know. I can keep reading, but I feel like just on a basic level, like reading part of chapter 1 in each book. Okay, this says the mind can augment our reality and perception of self. I've dealt with issues in body consciousness for sure. Really? I don't mean to. Okay, so I know like body dysmorphia is a thing, but that's hard. Like, I don't know. It's fascinating when you listen to people talk about like things that they have struggled with or that they do struggle with, and your perception of them is just so different. And so you're like, really? I didn't think that. Can you read the conclusions? Yes, because I'm darn sure not going to read this whole book to you guys. It's not really a conclusion, but I can read the bit of the last chapter. So the last chapter is chapter 14, and it's demonstrating and being transparent, living your new reality. I'm so ready to shatter reality and envision a new one. And yeah, I see the link. Oh, okay. See, this is why I did this, because I'm like, there's going to be someone who's like, no, I see the link. And I'm going to be like, they're so different. Okay, when you demonstrate change, you've memorized. Should I read this one first or the other one? I'll read the other one first to keep it fair. Chapter. Okay, this is chapter 19. So I'll read the last chapter in each book. I don't know that we can call them a conclusion, but it's the last thing each author felt like they needed to write in their book. So I'm gonna call that a conclusion. All right, the loving eyes of God. So yeah. How can anyone really know anything about God? We have so many teachings, so many concepts, and so many views about God, but they've all been touched by people. In the end, it's amazing how much our ideas about God conform to the different cultures from which they come. Fortunately, deep within us, there is a direct connection to the divine. There is a part of our being that is beyond the personal self. You can consciously choose to identify with that part, rather than with the psyche or the body. When you do this, a natural transformation begins to take place within you. Over time, as you observe this transformation, you will see what it's like to be coming toward God. You actually begin to know what it feels like to be moving in the direction of spirit. The changes, so this is not a Christian book or like a Jewish book or any, I think it's just like a spiritual, so just take the meat, spit out the bones. Okay, so the changes you see within you are reflective of the force you're approaching. Just as rain makes you wet and fire makes you warm, so you can know the nature of God by looking into the mirror of your transformed self. This is not a philosophy, it is a direct experience. Spiritual growth can be experienced just like anything else. You may have experienced a time in your life when you felt a lot of negativity, anger, and resentment. You know how that feels, and you know how you feel towards others when you're feeling that way. You know how your heart feels, and you know what your thoughts and actions are like. You know that space. It's not a philosophy, it's a direct experience. If you grow past that part of you over time, you will actually drift away from the feeling of tension and anxiety. All those books. Yeah, I have a lot of books. Like, hold on. I don't know if I can even show you guys, but and then it goes down the other way. But yeah, Pinchas, that's the Rambam's Mishnah that I was telling you about that I'm thinking about selling. And then that is the English Mishnah Torah. And over there is the Sephardic Halachot. So anyway, if you were wondering, that was what I was thinking about selling. Okay, I'm going to keep reading. Okay. As you release the lower vibrations, you naturally stop thinking they're you or that there's anything you have to do about them. As you let go of them, your spirit drifts upward. How do you know your spirit drifts upward? You know the same way you know that you're breathing, the same way you know that your heart beats, and the same way you know that you have thoughts. You're in there and you directly experience it. What does it mean to drift upward? It's an experience of being drawn further back inside yourself. You're no longer held down to your earthly self, so you begin to feel more spaciousness inside. You feel that there's more of a distance between you and the thoughts and emotions inside you. You drift back and then in and up. How does it feel when you drift up? You don't feel as much anger, fear, or self-consciousness. You don't feel resentment towards people. You don't close or get tight as often. Things still happen that you don't want to happen, but they don't seem to touch you as much. They can't reach back to where you are because you've drifted behind the part of you that reacts to things. These are actual experiences, not merely something you were told about. It's just what naturally happens when you let go of the lower vibrations of your being. You drift in and up to the deeper vibrations. I kind of want to skip ahead because it's kind of long, but I've been seeing them. So what does it feel like to identify more with spirit than with form? You used to walk around feeling anxiety and tension. Now you walk around feeling love. You just feel love for no reason. Your backdrop is love. Your backdrop is openness, beauty, and appreciation. You don't have to make yourself feel that way. That is how spirit feels. If you were asked how the body normally feels, you might say that it's generally uncomfortable about one thing or another. How about the psyche? If you were being totally honest, you'd probably say that it's generally full of complaints and fears. Well, how does spirit normally feel? The truth is, it always feels good. It always feels high. It always feels open and light. Because of this, you naturally begin to center more and more on the spiritual part of your being. You do this not by reaching for spirit, but by letting go of the rest. There really is no other way. The personal self cannot touch spirit. You must release the personal self. As you release it, you drift back. As you go further back, you get higher. You get higher in vibration and higher in the amount of love and lightness you feel. You just begin to soar. This happens in an ever-increasing, continuous progression. So I'm not going to totally finish it because I feel like the rest is basically a repeat of that. But it's still, it's very much that like non-attachment, detachment, unattached thing going on there. Okay, and so the last chapter of this book, you can skip around. I see what they're saying. Okay, yeah. Breaking the habit of being yourself. I thought you'd say that. Okay, so this is demonstrating and being transparent, living your new reality. So it's the last chapter of each book. Sorry, I don't know if you're still here, but hi. I'm reading 2 different books that are coming at living either detach from the mind as a form of self-empowerment, or living to it. This is my perspective of what each book is saying, or living with the understanding that your mind is so powerful it can create reality. And so how to live through that. So I probably identify more with Untethered Soul, the idea of non-attachment or detachment and letting go. And then the natural consequence of the letting go is identifying more with that divine nature in yourself. And then so you're drawn back from a lot of things. Oh, good book. Yeah. So I figured you've read it, but you just get pulled away from a lot of things. You just don't care anymore. And as that happens, you begin to really ascend upward. So I identify with that a lot. But then I have this book and it's like manifestation, quantum reality. So which I believe in. I'm so like a quantum reality, like metaphysics kind of person. Like I don't brush that off at all. So anyway, I'm reading the last chapter. So I read part of the first chapter and then I'm reading part of the last chapter just to give an idea for anyone who wants to read these. Okay. So when you demonstrate change, you've memorized an internal order that is greater than any environmental condition. It's keeping your energy up, staying conscious in a new reality, independent of your body, independent of the environment, and independent of time. How are you going to be when you walk into your life? Remind yourself with your family, at your job, with your children, at lunch tomorrow. Can you maintain this modified state of being? If you can live your life in the same energy that you created with, then something different should show up in your world. That's the law. When your behaviors match your intentions, when your actions are equal to your thoughts, when you're being someone else, then you are ahead of your time. Your environment is no longer controlling how you think and feel. How you think and feel is controlling your environment. That's greatness. It's always been within you. When how you appear is who you are free from the enslavement of your past. And when all of that energy now is liberated, the side effect of that freedom is called joy. I just opened Theory of Mind. Who wrote that? Can you put who wrote that? Because that sounds like something I'd be interested in reading as well. Thank you. Okay, demonstrating. Living as the new you. When your internal neurochemical state is so orderly and coherent that no stimulus in your incoherent external world can disrupt who you are being, then your mind and body are now working in harmony. You are now a new being. And by memorizing that state of being, a new personality, your world and your personal reality will begin to reflect your internal changes. When your outward expression of self is equal to your inner self, you are headed to a new destiny. Can you maintain the change in your life so that your body does not return to the same mind? Since emotions are stored in the subconscious memory system, it is your job to consciously keep your body aligned to your new mind so that nothing in your environment emotionally hooks you back to the old reality. You must memorize your new self and insist on being it so that nothing in your present reality can move you from it. Remember that when you get up from your meditation, if you did it properly, you will advance from thinking to being. Once you are in that state of being, you are more prone to do and think equal to who you are being. Either the kids are sleeping or you have a kid-free night reading on your shoulder. Listen, they're sleeping. That's what's happening. And I have the window open in that room. So I'm hoping that it's loud enough that, I can't even be heard. So you know me, Yuknan. Oh man. Yeah. I'm not going to have a kid-free night for a very, very long time, which it's fine, Okay. To demonstrate is to be it all day long. In a nutshell, demonstration is living as if your prayers have already been answered. It is rejoicing in your new life with a new level of expectation and excitement. It is reminding yourself that you must be in the same state of mind and body that you were in when you created your new ideal. You cannot create a new personality in your meditation and then live as the old self for the rest of the day. It would be like eating a really healthy meal in the morning and then spending the rest of the day snacking on junk food. A lot of people do that though. A lot of people eat that salad or have that little tiny little parfait in the morning. And then they go to town. I watch my 600-pound life. And not that some of those people even try to have like a, healthy meal, but it is a spiral for a lot of people. How do you insist your new self in meditation? When I read that, what I'm hearing is like, I'll sit and meditate and I'll be like, I'm not going to allow like certain things to like take over me. And I really like try to practice being present in that moment and being aware and non-judgmental of myself in that moment. But when I get up and out of that meditation, it's probably 20 minutes to 30 minutes, maybe 45, to where I'm back to judging myself. I'm back to letting things affect me. I'm back to being so attached. And so, yeah, I understand that, because I'm definitely, I have like a new self in my meditation or where I'm doing my yoga, and then I don't insist on that self showing up. So I do get that. I don't know that I identify deeply with it, but I do understand what they're saying. I don't know if that was helpful. I missed a comment here. Let me go back up. Definitely saying two different things. One book says we spectate our subconscious mind, and the other book says we can control the type of thoughts we encounter. Right. Okay. Thank you. I'm not sorry. I needed someone else to be like, you're not crazy. They're saying different things, and that was really well put. Can I pin that? Pin comment. I'm going to pin that. I'm putting that comment because that's how I feel. Okay. Okay. In order for a new experience in reality to happen to you, you have to match your behavior with your goal. You align your thoughts and your deeds. You must make choices that are consistent with your new state of being. He's repeating himself. When you are physically being one. Yeah, so he just repeats himself for the next 3 paragraphs in a different way, basically. So, I don't know. I just, so then this one gives end of the day questions to ask yourself. These questions are a simple way to review your display of your new self when the day is over. How did I do today? When did I fall from grace and why? Who was it I reacted to and where? When did I go unconscious? And how can I do better the next time that happens? Okay, so I will tell you right now, like based on that, this would be not helpful for me, because I think for me, that's what my mind is already naturally doing. And it's not coming from a good place. It's coming from like a, you must be perfect and fix yourself now kind of place. Like I need to chill. Like I tell myself that all the time. Like, girl, like you need to chill. You need a chill pill. So anyway, when I can stop the conversation in my mind from beating myself up, I usually hit the gym or smoke, or can't stop. Yeah. So that's another thing. I think I'm gonna have some people on the channel. That's the plan coming up, to kind of like talk about their journey, how like just their spiritual journey, like where they come from, your family of origin, your faith or philosophical background in your family of origin. Because like me, I was pretty much raised secularly. Like my dad and my stepmom like tried to go to church sometimes, not really. Like there was like VBS twice or something, but it just, we were secular. And so I want to have people on the channel talking about their journey, but something that I keep saying, I wouldn't answer when I fell from grace and all that. Yeah, like I just, like that language, like when I fell from grace, like I don't even, it takes me back to my Southern Baptist evangelical days where, again, Jennifer, I don't know your tradition, but I don't say this to be offensive, but it was just so harmful for me to be in that faith tradition. right at like 18, 19 years old, being raised for the most part secularly. And then like that being my first encounter with the Bible, like, God dang, like it was bad. But yeah, so anyway, I feel like I want to have people on the channel coming and like talking about their faith journey, because that's what this whole channel is about. That was the whole point. Like I started to wear a head covering in a Christian church, and I'm reading the Bible a lot differently than these people who are teaching me to read the Bible. And I'm just like, I feel like an alien, but I know that there's someone out there who thinks how I think, or who sees certain things in the Bible and is like, I feel like we're supposed to be doing these things. Like, I don't know where it said, don't do this anymore. And why do we stop? And so that kind of just created the backdrop for the channel for people who, to me, are the rare ones who either, read the Bible and they really want to live it out. That's rare, as the Bible said it would be, but that's rare. Or people who have gone through the Bible and maybe like no longer believe in the New Testament and are Tanakh only. Some people who have converted to a different religion. Some people who have said, I'm done with religion, I'm spiritual. And some people who have said, I'm done with all of it. I want to hear from everybody. And I think that you can always grow and learn when you do that. But one thing that I do see across every religion, every spiritual tradition and non-spiritual tradition is people rely on substances to relax, which I'm not saying is a bad thing. I think some substances are there for that, like the whole shrooms thing, adaptogenic herbs, like it's very much in right now, but these things have been around for millennia and they're helpful. I'm not someone who smokes the 420, is that what they call it? I don't know. But I'm and you guys can see how long I've had my little glass of wine since I've been on here. So 51 minutes and it's not gone. And I poured this 3 hours before I went live. So you guys see how slowly I drink a glass of wine. But yeah, it's just, I have a rule for myself that like, if I'm really sad, I don't drink. I just have to sit there in that. And if I'm going through like a phase of depression, I just sit there. If I'm going through anxiety, I might take like a CBD gummy or something like that. But I am so careful to like not take a substance, even medication that I could get addicted to. It's like I don't say it's a fear I have. It's just a boundary that I have with myself that, it's perfectly fine if other people choose addiction as a way to cope. Like I'm not mad at it. I'm not saying you're a bad person or whatever. It depends on what the addiction is. I'm not talking about like, bad stuff, but herbal things. If that's how you get through, like, so be it. That's what it's there for. I just have, I just have a boundary with myself. And I don't know if it's because addiction runs in my family or what, but because I didn't know that until I was older, but who knows? I've been covering for a year. I don't know if I'll do forever. Full stop. I think, sis, I think that is such a healthy place to come from. I was always there, and I was the full-time, part-time, even not full face veil, but a face veil coverer. And I just allowed myself to like, whatever I felt like I was being led to at that time. And it was for however long I felt led. I wasn't like forcing, like if I put this on, it's got to stay on forever. Or if I wear the face veil of the niqab, it's got to be that way forever. I can't ever show my face. Like I never did that to myself. And I'm thankful I didn't. And I see women who do that to themselves and they have a very unhealthy relationship with the veil. But I'll finish the comment. I've been covering for over a year. I don't know if I'll do forever, but it's for this season. My family is like, take that scarf off. My mom even pulled it off me in church. What wickedness, child. That's your mama, so I ain't gonna say nothing. But if it wasn't your mama, I'd be saying something different. I did a video about that. I had a whole talking to and a whole basically like getting kicked out of a church. Because I wore a head covering. And here's the thing, like they were fine when I was wearing like turbans and stuff that was looking more like, oh, like she's black. Like that's just an African style, right? But the second I put it on and looked like a Muslim child, all of those people, like it was, oh, they didn't even try to hide it. Like the judgment was crazy. And recently someone, I was telling someone that I used to wear turbans and headscarves, and there's someone else that they knew that wore them. And I don't know the style that she wore them in, but I even showed pictures to be like, no, like they were like, oh, it's like a towel head, and like said stuff. And I'm like, people really don't realize what they're saying. Like people hear something and they just repeat it, and they don't realize like what they're saying and how what they're saying is so offensive or effed up, or like it's just unnecessary because like you don't have it on your head. No one's trying to make you put it on your head. So why do you have an opinion? Oh, you used to wear a head covering? Oh, you wear a head covering? That's cool for you. I hope you enjoy that. I hope you feel good in that. Like it's that simple. We have endocannabinoid system built in us. Yes, we do. And so I remember asking my son, so I'm still breastfeeding my son. Some of you guys know that within Judaism and Jewish culture, the child, especially your male child, but your child has a right to the breast milk up until 2 years old. So because there's an idea, Islam has this too, I think, but within Judaism and Islam, unlike Christianity, I don't know about Christianity, but I've never heard this in Christianity or read it anywhere. But in Judaism and Islam, a child has rights over the parents. It's very much a thing. And so a child, as long as the mom's healthy, it's not causing any major issues. It's not like postpartum depression's like, whatever, like as long as you can and it's healthy for you guys, a child does have a right to its mother's milk for 2 years. And so I was asking the doctor, like if I take CBD gummies again, just to help with sleep and stress and anxiety and stuff, like I know it goes into the breast milk. I could figure that out on Google, but like, is that bad? Or, because the study is whatever. And he actually pointed me to an Israeli study that was like, it's actually really good. And those kids are associated with a higher IQ starting at age 8. I'll have to find that and try to link it. Did you wear a face veil outside, and how did people react? So I think I have a vlog somewhere on this channel. I might have put it on private because people be popping off in my comments, and sometimes I have time and sometimes I don't. But I'm in the season of I have time. So if it is on private, I will unprivate it. But I had a video. I lived in Denver, Colorado. So you'll have to go back. Ivanka was probably 2 or 3. So go back about 3 or 4 years. Go back to 2018, 2019. And I think I have a couple vlogs. I know I have one for sure that we were in the mall with my now ex-husband. So I may have taken it down because he was in there. I don't know. But yes, I wore a face veil outside. So I wore a face veil pretty much all the time for like 3 months. And then I wore it on and off for that whole year. Really that whole 2 years. Because then we moved to Texas and I wore the face veil in Texas, which I thought was going to be so much worse, but nobody cared. It was worse, way worse in Denver, which I have a working theory about why, but I won't share that publicly. The mitzvot are awesome, but a shalom bayit is priceless. Shalom, yes. Shalom bayit is very important. For those who don't know Shalom Bayit, it's the piece of the home. It is considered the woman's privilege to guard, to be shomer. That means like to guard, basically, to guard the peace of the home and to create the peace of the home. And it's a very important role. It's not looked down on at all. In Jewish tradition, it is arguably the most important thing. We don't need over observance. We need empathy and patience with Hashem's greatest creation, us. I so agree with that. I think I think because we tend to live, we either want to believe that we're the worst thing ever or we want to believe that we're the best thing ever. And I think it depends on season, but I also think it depends on personality. I tend to mate with people who think that they're the best thing ever, whereas I think I'm like the worst thing ever, right? And I think that that is directly correlated to empathy and being able to really put yourself in someone else's shoes and step back from yourself and say, hey, like, how is this person feeling about X, Y, and Z? Regardless of how I feel, regardless of my opinion, which y'all, I have very strong opinions, and I like to voice them. But I also, in my 32 years of living, realized that so many people are so out of touch with themselves and they don't want to be quiet. They can't sit still. They don't want to reflect within themselves. So they can't handle their own crap. They definitely cannot handle an opposing view because they don't even know what their view is. They just have emotional reactions. So they can't have empathy because they don't even know how they feel about themselves and reality. So how are they going to put themselves in your shoes when they don't even want to walk in their own shoes? You know what I mean? So I do think that's harder. Maine, I don't know if you're still here, but hi. Are you in barber school? Did I see that you're in barber school? Did I see that? Did I see that correctly? That you are training in barber school? And if so, did the person I think help you get into that? I found it. Oh, okay, good. I went out in public in a face veil for the first time. My husband, yeah. I think that was one of the few videos I left up with my ex-husband in it. Because I was like, I'm still gonna get the bag. You're kind of in the video, or I think his voice is in the video, and I'm like, I'm not taking it down. He didn't ask or say anything about it, but I didn't want it to become an issue. So no, but yeah, people in Denver, it was rough in Denver. Like the stairs were crazy. And so I think I would have, I still have my face veils and all my scarves and everything. I don't tend to wear them, but I think I would have very, very, very similar reactions if I were to wear it here. I live right on the cusp of Nebraska, South Dakota, and Iowa. So I'm not going to say exactly where, but you guys who can use a map can guess the general region that I live in. It's a tri-state area, and it is very much, I will say this, I am the only Black woman, I believe, at my company, and there's over thousands of employees. And I would say that I could probably count on two hands the amount of Black men that work there. Like Black American men. But like, I don't know. There might be, not that I've seen, but there might be other Black women, American or otherwise, who work at the company, but not in my office for sure. So I think anything out of the norm, which is standard American whiteness, like where I live, which is very much how it was in Denver, you just get stares. It doesn't matter like Black or what, or even if you're like white, but let's say you're white and you wear a head covering, you're going to get the stares because it's just out of the norm of what they think is acceptable. And I'm the kind of person, I'm a little rebellious. Like I'll do stuff just to be like, because this is good for you. It is good for you to have to sit here and talk to me today in a face veil when yesterday you saw me looking like this. It's good for you and your mind and your growth. And I don't mind being uncomfortable. Like I'm very much that person when I don't have a bunch of crap going on in my own life. So I am at a point where I'm like, should I shake it up a little bit and like just, force people to grow? Like I'm so tired of people just getting away with making other people feel bad or like crap because they want to try something different and it makes them feel good and it's not hurting anybody. It's not sinful. It's just that like it's wearing a headscarf, or it's choosing to wear skirts only, or it's choosing to go from wearing skirts to pants, or it's whatever it may be, right? Like it's just so ridiculous. I saw on Wikipedia some non-religious girl went to college and challenged herself to wear it all semester for a project. yeah, like I mean, so there's different opinions on that. I think that we have to have a conversation about being able, it is a privilege to be able to do something, to be non-religious and to be able to do something like that, um, and catch crap for it, maybe or maybe not, but catch crap for it. But it's not a part of your identity. And if it gets bad enough, you can choose to just take it off and no harm, no foul. Like you're not violating your conscience. Where there are religious people, Muslim, Jewish, Christian, Israelite, Hebrew roots, whatever. Thank you. Would you stop? But what was I saying? Dang it. Oh, yes, a conversation where write in English and you stop that, but anyone who's bilingual or multilingual, like when you, so like French, Hebrew, and English, when there's like different languages, like you just get sucked into that and you respond in that language, but then you're saying something in the other language. It's really hard to go back and forth. But we have to have a conversation about that for someone who is religious of whatever form and they put it on for a religious reason and for that observance or for connection to God, and they catch hell for it and they can't just take it off. Like it's not that easy. It is that deep for them. And it's not a project. It's not something that they can just like write about and detach from. It's a part of them and their identity. And I mean, in some countries and some places, even in America, women are beaten and got to be careful what I say on YouTube, but women are beaten and unalived and deleted for wearing these things. And so while I think that that's a great experience, I also have to be mindful that it is a privilege to be able to do that and that it could be offensive to other people too. I'm super tired. I'm tired, but I want to finish reading this book. It's fiction. It's nothing heavy, guys. But by the way, just on the self-help tip, a pocket guide, the polyvagal theory, the transformative nature of feeling safe. This is a really good book, and I recommend reading this book. If the other two books interested you, reading this one in conjunction with a book called The Body Keeps a Score. Fascinating stuff if you are a little nerdy and you like research and numbers. Very, very interesting. I'll show you guys that one. It's unimportant. But yeah, I want to finish this book. I'm almost done with it. Gosh, I got beat up. But yeah, I'm almost done with it. And I will probably go on what I really want to get on BookTube. Like I love talking about my fiction books, but this is just not the channel for it. It is not what the platform was built for. And I don't know. I like to keep things separate and cohesive. And so I have the Bookalo, which is probably going to end up being either it'll say the Bookalo because that's what my YouTube channel or my Instagram is, or it'll become Life with Z or Life with Zara, which is like a vloggy, but I don't have it in me to blog. I do not have it in me to vlog. So it'll probably be a BookTube second channel that may or may not become a vloggy vibe thing as well, still within the whole bookish realm, because I do, as you guys can see, I like my fiction-y reads and I want to talk about it. I only say what we were all thinking. That's mighty kind of you. What violates our conscience is interesting. I got a job and started wearing it to work and got taken off the schedule. Really? I don't know what state you live in, but let's just say I work in HR and I don't know what state you live in, but you may want to look into your state's laws about religious coverings and garments and the protections that are afforded to you per your state and per federal laws. So I'll just say that. But yeah, I'm gonna get off of here, this channel, and attempt to record something that'll probably just be able to read with me for my Bookalo, my second YouTube channel and Instagram. So you guys can follow that if you want to. But anyway, I just wanted to go live because it's easier and talk about those books and just bring it up. How did you learn about culture like women being guardians of peace and similar knowledge? So I like, we always knew, like my mom always told us like our like lineage and heritage, and like there's Creole stuff there, descending primarily from Sierra Leone, and there's Jewish, Middle Eastern, Polish stuff going on, and African stuff going. Like there's just all sorts of stuff going on in our blood, and one of those cultures that we knew about was Jewish Israeli culture. And so it's something that, because most Jews and or Israelis who maybe happen to be Jews, it's just such a strong part of the Jewish culture. You kind of just when you're around it, you experience it. It's paired with the teachings. There's blessings and prayers, and it just, you just know. But there is, do I have the book? Anytime someone asks me a question, I swear I'm like, I have a book for that. There is a book. It is called, here it is. Here it is. And then there's another book. Ugh. One of these is super controversial. The other one is not. Yeah. So, Modesty and Endowment for Life. It is by Rabbi Pesach Elilahu Falk. So yeah, it's all about znus, which is modesty in Hebrew, or znuit, depends on how you pronounce. And so it's the halakot and attitudes concerning snooze of dress and conduct. And so it's in English, so it can be read, but it's not just the halakot, like the laws, but it also gives the explanation. And it's from like a very, very, very orthodox, ultra orthodox perspective. Like it is a controversial book, like purity culture times 5,000. Okay, so it is a triggering book for some people. So I'm not recommending it, being ignorant of that, but it is founded in this idea of being, like shomer, not just of the home, and like a guardian of, peace and tranquility, and just the foundation of, it's very much the energy of ceasing all of the chaotic bull crap that's outside and making your home just that restful place. I think that women especially, but everyone should have the skill, especially women though, but everyone, because we just deal with so much. But my home is my sanctuary. It is my place of peace. Like I do not play that. Like first of all, everybody's not coming to my house. Second of all, if you get an invitation, but that energy is off, you can leave and you will not be invited back. Like you get one chance. I don't play that. Like my home needs to be peaceful. And I love when people come in and they're just like, I just like being here. Like, it's just such a peaceful environment. I love that. I love that for you to experience that, but don't mess it up. There's also a book that you should get. I have it on my Kindle. It is called Circle, Arrow, Spiral. It is by, my Alexa's not on right now. I'll look it up for you. Circle, I think I'm saying it right. Circle, Arrow, Spiral. I did get it right. Circle, arrow, spiral. Exploring gender in Judaism. This is what it looks like. I don't know if you could see that. But it's also a really good book that gets into that concept of being shomer, shomer shalom bait. And it's really good. So that's how I learned that. But yeah, I'm going to get off of here and hop on the Bookalo channel and the Bookalo Instagram. And I'm just really going to quietly read because I have talked for an hour and 15 minutes, which is a really long time. But my son's sleeping and the window's open, so he can't hear me. And I wanted to get on here and get more videos in. I miss you guys. I miss y'all's perspective. So anyway, until next time, Shabbat Shalom to those who observe. Happy Friday night to those who do not. Happy weekend. For my astro-spiritual people, I think like the planet, I think Jupiter is in Gemini now. I don't know what that means. I'm trying to learn what that means, but right now I don't know what that means necessarily. But if that's some sort of happy time for you, happy that. And until next time, Emir to Hashem. Bye, guys. And by YouTube, how you spell Bookalo. Just like that. That's how I spell Bookalo. It's like a book bungalow. In my mind, it made sense, and so I ran with it. I don't know if it's going to make sense to anyone else, but it made sense to me when I was making the name. But yeah, it's that, the Bookalo, just like that, the book bungalow. It might be Life with Z right now. I'm not too sure, but it might pop up in the recommended channels on this video when I post it. Or if you go to my channel, it'll probably, I think I have it set to show as like a recommended channel. So anyway, thanks for being here, Jennifer. Appreciate you coming by and chit-chatting. I feel like I got to know you a little bit better, and hopefully you got to know me a little bit better. And of course, y'all know I'm going to be reading them comments, and I will respond when I can. So anyway, good night, everybody.